Here we are again. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the space between ideas. I feel energetic. I was just outside. I got a little river that goes past my house, and there's now a pool, and it's like water that comes from the mountains, and the mountain water. Well, all the snow is melted, but it's still pretty cold. So I don't know. My dang dog wanted to go outside this morning, and instead of making a video, I think it's because he wants a treat. Anyways, uh, let's get into it. So now, what's going on? Mm, huh, dang it, this is not good news. It's actually a problem that I had earlier. Okay, let's jump into it. So we're on to the next task. Now, I was thinking about this whole thing about troubleshooting and like, is it a problem that there's a problem? That's the main thing. Am I really concerned that there's a problem? I would say no, not really, because like, I don't know, who cares? It's just, I mean, it's a problem. So big deal. Yeah, problem. It's just life. Um, in other news, so I can see that there's actually a lot of problems with this right now. It's got some serious issues, and like it doesn't really add the task. And then if I redo the screen, then suddenly it'll get the tasks. You can't edit it. We can ask the place to staging Charlie. Huh. So this is not. It added those. Hmm. Yeah, these buttons are messed up. Okay, we got some serious problems. So I asked about this thing. Should we revert? Because the thing is that it made some changes to the code. We could revert, which means we can go back and figure out what went wrong. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so here's it had like a big long process yesterday when it tried to do the task. Um, so that's why I asked. We can always revert back later, so it doesn't really matter like when we revert. We can always do revert. See, there's this revert button, so we could do this anytime we want. All right, so first I want to anyways, I asked if it should revert. It said no. We won't edit the previous prompt. The original prompt was too complex, and its combination of tasks directly led to the failure loop. As per our circuit breaker protocol, when we encounter a critical failure, we must reset and simplify the objective. The old prompt combined code implementation with a difficult screenshot task. We will now issue a new, more focused prompt that isolates code implementation, which is core goal. The difficult screenshot problem will be treated as a separate task later. We will resume phase three, planning grounding, and we're already successful before failure. We are restarting the task after a critical failure. The previous attempt failed because of a persistent race condition while trying to capture the visual ground truth screenshot. Therefore, this new attempt has a simplified objective. Successfully implement the code and verified it with our E2E regression test. Screenshots will be handled separately. Your required workflow, phase one to complete, implement, proceed directly to writing the code based on our last successful thought. This involves replacing the entire content of this with this. After you've written the code, perform a static analysis. Execute the full EDE suite by running this. Okay. All right. Now, let's get some more. Let's get a little deeper analysis. So, okay, so I've asked the architect whether we should revert back to an earlier version of the code since there are multiple issues with buttons and updating tasks and changing the status of tasks. Basically, the whole page is not working. I think the architect needs your advice and device because you have direct access to the code and the history changes. Let me show you the architect reply to me, and then I want you to comment on next steps. More importantly, in order to reduce the possibility or possibility of creating more errors, not fixing this issue, and overall improving our ability to make edits code. I want you to suggest protocols, protocols, and specific prompting ideas that you could share with architects that would help us create a better working process. So the idea is what? The idea is that I've got two different systems. I got Gemini 2.5 over here, and I got Gemini 2.5 over there, and it's creating bugs. And whenever I watch the videos that people post about using AI coding tools, they're always like, yeah, I used one prompt and it saved the world. Yeah, okay, good, thanks for that. And then it's like, but if I need to make some changes, nobody wants to talk about that. Then you hear these now recently I heard even worse. So it's like saying that that people who are professional software developers are saying that actually the AI is slowing them down, which means that it's not producing good code. Right. Now it's starting to do stuff. Thank you for sharing the architect's message and for asking for my input on the responses. This is a crucial step in improving our collaboration. I agree completely with the architect's circuit breaker protocol decision to reset, simplify the objective, and isolate the difficult screenshot test. The new focus is clear and I'm ready to execute it. Before I proceed with the implementation, here's a comment on working process suggestions. Commentary on next steps and process improvement. The core issues we face are compounding failures of difficult tasks. I don't know. Now it's just like losing its mind again. Okay. Decision confirmed. All right, now we're back to just letting it run. All right, now the thing is that we got 2 more weeks and we still got a lot of like I don't know what should I do here? So I actually have 3 projects that I'm running at the same time. Um, one project is the homepage. One project is the free version of the app, and one project is the paid version of the app. So I kind of feel like maybe I ought to open up a new window and that's a good point. Where is the paid version of the app? Where did my favorites disappear? Here we go. All right, so we got homepage, project arrowhead, and cursor. Inside of cursor, we have Gemini test cursor, we got Gemini test windsurf, we got arrowhead sketches, we got windsurf arrowhead, we got box 4. It's definitely not box 4. Cursor arrowhead, we got Gemini test cursor, Gemini test windsurf. All right, we're not using cursor. We got arrowhead sketches. We got windsurf arrowhead. We got Gemini test windsurf. And we got arrowhead windsurfer. What the heck? We got windsurf dash arrowhead. Got arrowhead database backup. My goodness. Guidance MVP. I think it's called guidance MVP. This one's empty. Okay, that's good. Wow, that doesn't look like it's much is going on there. Cursor arrowhead. Project management app, client server. I don't even know what this stuff is. So we got our cursor stuff over here. And then we got something arrowhead. Well, it looks like there's a backup. I have no idea what that's a backup to, but it looked like that one. My feeling is it's this one. It's called Guidance MVP. This one, you see? Gemini test surfer. I think it's this one. Okay, let's get down to business. So I could just run two of them at the same time. Now, I think I'm gonna do a new workflow with this because I used to just click continue, but then the problem is when you try to continue, then you lose. See, you lose it anyways. See, it doesn't work anymore. See, zombie processes. It ends at zombie processes. Problem here. Yeah, see, it missed it again. So I get to figure out exactly how much can it copy at one time. All right, so I'm having I don't like This is a killer for me. If windsurf doesn't change this, I'm gonna have to go back to cursor because I know cursor has like a really good copy and paste function. Yeah. All right. So I don't know. I don't have to make the decision today, but it seems as though we have to move back to cursor because it's just too difficult to bounce back and forth. Um, where I have to like copy line by line. Problem is, I want to make some progress on my other app, which is here. Uh, so let's pull up Gemini. What about technical lead? Is it technical lead or is it architect and liaison? I'm gonna do one architect. I'm gonna do one liaison. So you got to name, you got to number these things. Got a technical lead, and then we got a liaison. All right. Shifting weights from the dev container. Um, from liaison, of course, I have received fully processed new plan from architect. Okay, so here's architect and liaison. What's this one? Okay, and what's this? And this is our planning one. Yeah, a brainstorm module. Ah, Tuesday. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to make another video. What's going on here? It's running. All right. Um, so when I make a video, there's going to be the daily module. Then there is the home page, and then there's the free version, windsurf, And then there's the pro version, windsurf. There's the home page, which is still in GitHub. Daily module. Wow, it's a lot of stuff. Okay. Now, daily module. So let's pull this one into the front. The home page is in GitHub. The free version is here, this 1 and 2. This is free 3. No, this is free 4. Free 4 and free 5. And pro version windsurf with architect liaison. Daily module. Okay, this one's called. So we're doing the brainstorm module. Brainstorm module. So, I did that. Stuff to keep track of. All right, so this one is the daily brainstorm module. Is to the GitHub homepage. So I haven't actually. This one's in Replit actually right now. And then this is free 4. This is free 5. Right. So the daily brainstorming is here. Interesting. Okay, that's fine actually right here. Now, what did we come up with from this? It was quite an interesting discussion that we had yesterday about this. This right here. Now we can actually put it into windsurf, or we could put it into here. We should be looking at how other business methodologies and strategic frameworks have been successful, productized, and sold. Your true competitors aren't just software companies; they are authors, consultants, and educators who have packaged a way of thinking. All right, so we got that, and so we're looking at this right now. All right, so we've got these 3 windows, just actually 3 windows. Next is the home page, which is Replit, GitHub, that little frog. That's also 3 windows. Then we got the free 3 and free 4, which is where it's liaison. It's right here. I'm gonna put it after that frog. Tom's book is here. So it doesn't need to be in, and you could put it in here to separate these. So there's two windows here, and liaison architect is also two windows. Now we could also change this. Yeah, well, it says replit, and then it says windsurf, and then it says windsurf. Okay, that's good. All right, so this is stuck. It does this sometimes. I see the problem. We need to go back and find the conversation. Oh. Hmm, interesting. All right, that means we need to change this a little bit. Let's put in two. I want to put in. Actually, I want four boxes. That's it. Blocks is fine, but it might be easier with two columns. Oh, that makes sense. Making noise. We just got constantly have alarms going off everywhere. Because I used to have a French lesson at this time, and my French teacher, she said she's working in a hospital in a lab, and anyways, a couple more days, and then she's going to be back to. Now, this personality assessment stuff, I don't necessarily need it right there. Put it at the end, and then here's my architect and liaison. All right, so where are we? This thing's still running. All right. Well, if that thing's still running, let's jump into our brainstorm. So we're just going to click our button here. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, good. So I think that you did a really excellent job yesterday when we were working with the first thing, the first step in the brainstorm. Particularly, you mentioned that we should be looking at how other business methodologies and strategic frameworks have been successfully productized and sold. Your true competitors aren't just software companies, they're authors, consultants, and educators who have packaged a way of thinking. And so I'm just going to click the next step button, which is going to show us the next page, which is called Step 2, Ideate. The question is, now that you've examined what others are doing, it's time to generate fresh ideas. What completely new approaches, creative solutions, or innovative concepts could you explore? Generate fresh ideas, create creative solutions, innovative approaches, and completely new concepts that could work for your situation. Think outside the box. What hasn't been tried yet? And if we just continue that thought and go to my original design, we could look at the idea called ideate. It says, ideate. Now that you've done benchmarking, if we're going to get ahead, we need to think outside the box. What other ideas do we have? And also, if we go into Tom's book, Create Crucial Insight, then we can go into his state inventiveness checklist and look at what he says. So next to this idea called ideate, it says create a concept that can be a basis for an innovation. So all of these things kind of point to the same thing, which is to have some new ideas. And well, I don't know, because what do you mean new ideas? If we base our new ideas off of the work that you came up with yesterday, so yesterday you came up with this idea that we should be looking at how other business methodologies and strategic frameworks have been productized and sold. Your true competitors aren't just software companies, they're authors, consultants, educators who have packaged a way of thinking. Now, from that idea, that specific idea, what you're talking about is you're asking about the historical basis for how other business concepts have become popularized. Particularly, for example, if we look at the business model canvas, I remember that when you open up that book and you take a look at the first couple of pages, it makes it pretty clear that there were a lot of people that were involved in this project, and they were working on this project for a long time. And they were also working on this project inside of Google. So it just seems like you, so for example, they have and there's like hundreds of people's names. And I just don't understand how hundreds of people could come together to create one book. But anyways, the idea is pretty clear that they were eventually able to create some kind of business model canvas, which is now used. It's a very popular concept, and they were able to launch it. um, I don't know. Is it because it's been launched by Google, or is it because it is like really the answer, or is it because I don't know. How did it really become popular? Those are a lot of historical questions about this concept. Now, if we go about talking about the SWOT analysis is a little thing that I think it's popular because of what it is. Like the business model canvas, you have to like get the book, and then you have to like trust the book, and then you have to go through the book. It's like quite a bit of work to be able to believe that that book is going to somehow help you. Whereas the SWOT analysis, it just works. Like you don't you don't have to ask who made it, because you know that it works. You can see that it works. It's like literally just right there in front of your face. Like, okay, so if we look inside of our company, what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses? That's great. That's like really simple. And then if we look at the market and outside of the company, then what are the threats and the opportunities? It's like, I think it's a really great model for how to think about and just really start to look at the most obvious. It comes from this concept of like quick wins, or like do the thing which is staring at you in the face. Whereas the business model canvas is not necessarily so useful. I mean, it is useful to an extent. It helps you to visualize the business and to see what are the inputs into production and the costs of those inputs. and then also look at the like who is your customer and how are you getting the marketing messages and products to your customer, and then what's the revenue that you're going to be able to earn from that, and also what are the costs from that. But the business model canvas is like it's so simple. It's similar to this concept I have called the product roadmap, which is also basically just asking you to think about what are the inputs to production, and then also what are the channels and the marketing messages that you're going to use to reach your customer. So yeah, I like the business model canvas, but it's not necessarily like, I mean, it gives you a like a good framework for thinking about the business in general, and then to be able to pinpoint on a specific element or aspect of your business. It made some general change to what we used to have when, like, when you model a business and you ask, like, what are the basic functions of a business and what are the different departments that you need in order to run a business? It just basically turned it into like 9 different boxes. So, I like those things. And I also like yesterday we were thinking about these historical benchmarking ideas for how other people got those ideas to become popularized. And I don't know. So now today we're supposed to be talking about like what new ideas, how do you think outside of the box? And the main issue I have here is like what is the endeavor? Like what is the actual, so on the one hand, I'm like developing the product right now. I'm doing the software coding. And like, yeah, I'm having a lot of challenges with the software coding process. It's particularly because I don't know how to make software and I'm using AI tools. And then eventually we're gonna have other issues because we're gonna have to like start trying to develop some kind of sales plan and some type of marketing strategy. I mean, it goes back to my idea of the product roadmap where you have your product and then you have the location where you are going to be connecting with your, like, being able to sell that product. And I've just connected those two things together. So I got the homepage and then I got the free version of the app and then I got the paid version of the app that I'm working on right now. So I'm still working on the homepage and the product together, and it's one piece of software basically. Well, it's a few different pieces of software that I'm putting together in one place. So then I also need to start thinking about the marketing, how I'm going to reach out to people, how I'm going to get people excited about my product, how am I going to present it to the public. So, I mean, yeah, I guess those are basically the ideas that I'm thinking about right now. And then if we think about like ideate, meaning like, do you want to think about what you're currently doing and then how are you going to get those things done and make some decisions about how you're going to do those things? Or are you talking about like, do you want to come up with some really great new ideas for like thinking outside the box about like what this software should look like, or how are you going to communicate with the public in order to get people on board and get people using your product? I mean, is it really necessary that I actually make the product? Or maybe I should be taking this idea to somebody else who already has some kind of software platform and then helping them to use the idea within their software. Is it like a brand new idea that I have to launch myself, or is there some way to connect with somebody else in order to make this product inside of their tool that they already have? So yeah, it's interesting. And are these the only ideas that we should be thinking about, or are there other ideas that we should also start thinking about? So how do we create like a really long list of ideas, just fresh ideas of things that we should be thinking and talking about? All right. Now, I don't even know what's going on over here because I got this test